Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our another installment of our Bone, Blood, and Blade, The Legend of the Five Rings campaign that we have going on tonight. My name is Will. I'll be your storyteller. And last we left off, the Kuni had a nice little moment with a wild feral cat that one of the other players was jealous about. Uh, they discovered the temple in the north is for the fortune of money or gold. That there is a temple on the island in the west, in the middle of the lake, that is dedicated to Lady Moon. And there is a southern temple that has been disused, that was an ancestral shrine where people were cremated and packed into memorial urns. Tamori Mori discovered that the old woman that she has been living with has a name, and that she was actually a former samurai of the Scorpion clan, a Bayushi Taimara. She has given her daisho off to a granddaughter, and as such, she has retired to the village. The mother and son, unfortunately, of the man who was killed by Doji Borano have succumbed to the taint themselves and had to be killed off. And unfortunately, it is a sad event in the world of Rokugani politics. But they have now discovered proof that the Mahotsukai that Kuni Saizo has been chasing is either here in the city or has made his presence known because of his calling card, the kanji symbol for gold or money. Bayushi Saimon handed Kuni Saizo an origami crane while they sat down for dinner, and the crane was beautifully folded and had an amazing piece of calligraphy for the kanji for gold within. What it could mean is anybody's guess, but information was traded, and Kuni Saizo gave Bayushi Saimon a depiction of the kanji that him and Doji Izanagi had found in the northern part of the city. Doji Izanagi tried to reason with his clansmen, Doji Borano, and to try to kind of ascertain just how far he has slipped into the miasma that has permeated the city. And unfortunately, it seems that right now he is beyond reason. And we pick up right where we left off with Doji Izanagi standing next to Tamori Mori in the middle of this crane enclave, and with Kuni Seizo sitting opposite of Bayushi Saimon in the Lotus Tea House. And this is where we come in to our players. Hello, everyone, and welcome.
Oh.
Hello.
So,
Hello.
hi. The three of you are kind of together, as two of you are, one of you is away, and as you're left in this kind of situation where we left you, there's a sudden roll of thunder that kind of slowly log rolls over the sky above you, and you start to feel the small patter of drops.
I look up at the sky, and I'm going to. Okay, so I'm worried because we're missing a Shukenja.
Yes.
Because remember, I called for 4, and there's one missing. We have no idea where she is. Yes. So I don't care if I'm getting wet. I'm very worried about that. One thing I want to say, I go specifically to the whoever are the warriors who are patrolling the enclave, because there has to be some on the perimeter. By my order, nobody's allowed to go out unless they go out with 2 more people. Everybody is in 3s.
The guards there nod, and they start to spread the word.
Okay. And I asked them if they saw my cousin, the Shukenju who's missing.
They look at you and they say, "No, Doji-san. Do you mean Daidoji Ryunmei?"
Yes.
Oh, I believe the guard captain had interacted with her when she left early this morning, but he has not explained anything to the rest of us.
I go find him.
Okay.
And I look at Mori. I look at Mori. Well, actually, I'm calling her Mori-san already. Yeah. I look at Mori-san, and I go, it's going to start raining. If you wish to go home, I totally understand.
No, Doji, I'm totally fine. I'm ready to have round 2 with your cousin.
I feel that might come to me. Remember, if I let
Damn it!
I know. Now, if he strikes at you.
Oh, okay. I see how we're doing it. That's okay. Yep, got it. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna stick right next to you until you find your cousin and make sure that you're okay. And if I get in the middle, I get in the middle. Meh.
Well, we're looking for the Shukenju who's missing. My idiot cousin who ran off. We'll take care of him later.
Okay.
I'm worried about the Shukenju missing because that might be another. That worries me. A user of magic disappearing now, one of my most powerful ones, really worries me.
You're probably right. Okay.
It seems too convenient. So I start heading over to the captain, the head of the guard.
Okay.
I follow.
The guard captain is an older cat, kind of like your age. He also has a boy as his only kind of offspring that he's had. His boy is about 14. He's waiting to go through his Genpuku ceremony, even though his father has urged him to go through it. But his name is Kakita Nimura, and as you enter his tent, he immediately stands up and bows to you, Doji-san.
I bow back.
And he kind of looks.
My cousin.
He looks at the dragon. He looks up at the dragon, and then he kind of he bows with a quizzical look on his face.
I bow back and kind of give the little kid like a head pat.
and I motion to her and I go, "This is Tomori-san."
Tomori-san.
And I look back at him and I'm looking. I heard that you spoke to I forgot her name.
Yeah, Daidoji Ryunmei.
How do you say that again?
Daidoji Ryunmei.
Ryunmei. Okay. Daidoji Ryunmei. This morning when she left the camp, did she tell you anything?
The Daidoji Sama left early to go speak with, I believe, the Isawa in charge, sir. I cannot be sure of it.
Well, that gives me a good place to start. I don't know if my orders have reached you already, but from now on, nobody is allowed to leave the encampment unless it's with 2 people. Everybody travels in 3s.
Of course. Yes. He kind of shakes the dust of the day away from him and he's like, yes, I recall now that she had made it known that she was going to see Shiba Yagao. Something about not feeling well in the radius of the city itself.
I look at Mori. I look over at Mori with an like. Do you know of this? Do you know this person?
No.
I don't.
The city.
No. I don't think so. If I
Yagao,
did, then I don't know. Yeah.
Shiba Yagao is the Phoenix representative.
Yeah.
He's the Phoenix in charge of the city as far as the Phoenix are concerned. The Phoenix stake in the city is concerned. You've had rare interactions with him.
Right. What he said.
Okay, so do you know where to find them?
Magistrate building.
Yeah, we were there before.
Well, I didn't know if the magistrate building or if they live somewhere else. Okay, so let's go. And I look at the captain and I say, don't worry about me traveling with 2 more people. I have my friend with me, and we can probably handle anything that comes our way.
Doji-san,
I can.
They probably count for 3. And you see him kind of... he smiles and then he kind of like corrects himself. And he's like, no offense meant to Mori-san.
No, it's a compliment. Thank you.
And I go, no offense taken. With a smirk, I count my katana and then her 2 blades.
Yeah.
Say 3.
Yeah.
Everybody here knows that I'm married to a dragon, right? Like everybody in the camp.
Most of
them. It's like well known, right?
People have heard stories.
They wouldn't take it as weird that I'm friendly with a dragon.
No, not at all.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Cool. The thing is, I don't think Tamori knows yet.
No.
I don't.
Yeah. So I say thank you very much. I thank him, and I say, keep an eye out for any strangers, keeping an eye on our encampment.
Of course.
And if you see any, confront them.
Yes, sir.
Ask them what they're doing, because we already lost 1 member of the family today, and I'm not up for losing more.
He kind of pulls his hand out towards you to kind of stop you before you leave. He's like,
"Yep,
Doji-san, do you think anything could have befallen the Doji-sama?"
I would be lying to you if I said I was sure if she was safe. Which is why I'm leaving now.
I understand. And you see that he bows to you. He bows low to you.
I bow back, and I book out. And I'm not running because that's improper to run out of a tent. I walk out quickly, and as soon as I'm out of the tent, I actually do bolt into a run.
Okay.
Now we're running.
Now you're running.
It's going to start raining soon. And
I understand, but you're this big and I'm this big. So you got little legs that go fast. I have long legs. It's a lot of effort, but I'll follow.
Let's
Oh, really?
Just for fun.
Okay.
Just for funsies.
Okay,
let's have you both make athletic checks.
Let's do this.
Oh, Jesus.
To see who takes the lead and who is faster and who is not.
Oh, fuck. All right. Athletic check. Athletic. Where the fuck am I?
There you go.
Yeah. You both have a train.
I'm actually trained in this? That's weird.
Yeah, 11. I suck. I'm so worried that I didn't.
18?
Yeah. You're taller.
Yeah, the long legs. The long legs really do help.
From one of my favorite movies. From one of my favorite movies. It's not fair. Every time you take 1 step, I need to take 2.
Yeah. But sure enough, as you start booking out towards the actual village proper, Tamori just kind of shoots past you as they take the lead and kind of. There's a good by the end.
They are young and full of energy. I'm old.
Yeah, of course, of course. There's a good 150 to 200 paces between the two of you when they get to the actual magistrate building.
Besides, it's a smart strategy to have the incredibly large dragon break down the door first.
Oh, of course. Of course.
You gotta tell me where to go, though. Where am I going,
bro? You know we're going to the magistrate building.
Yeah.
And I'm knocking down the door, but you didn't tell me part of the plan.
No, we're not kicking down the door. That would be improper.
Well, you're telling me Now we're going busting through.
No. We're getting there, and as soon as we get there, we will compose ourselves, and then we will walk in.
Compose ourselves?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So the last couple of the last 100 paces, you notice that he stops running and he just kind of like starts to walk towards the magistrate building, kind of ironing out his kimono as best as possible, kind of dusting off everything.
Catching my breath.
Yeah. Just catching the breath. And you're still, I can imagine Mori kind of like just standing at the top of the steps, just kind of like still pumping their knees up and down, like they're still like jogging in place, using some of that, like they're wanting to use the energy. And as the scene plays out for you, we turn now to the Lotus House where Kuni Zeiso and Bayushi Saman are sitting, and dinner is just placed in front of them. And the Bayushi looks over at you. What is your favorite tea, Kuni-san?
Green tea.
I will have it specially prepared for you then.
Oh. Thank you.
What do you think?
What is your favorite tea?
Oh, I prefer a black tea. Bitterness reminds me of Kyuden Bayushi. What do you think these symbols mean, Kuni-san, if I can so boldly ask your opinion on the matters currently taking place in the village?
Well, initially thought it was a calling card, but I don't know. Don't know anymore.
Should we be preparing for war? There's an awful lot of cranes sitting to our southern edge.
If the crane decide to go to war, to be with their tongues, not their swords. They don't like to get their hands dirty.
You sound like you speak from experience, Kuni-san.
Some. Mostly just what they've done to our people.
Yes.
They're not the crab's best neighbors.
It is unfortunate. Sometimes
they can be useful.
Be best to share the wealth, I think.
It would be nice if people remembered all the sacrifices we make on the southern border.
It is because of your diligence and your adherence to the tenet of duty that we get to live this life. This is why exactly. I wish to thank you, Kuni-san. As a lowly servant of the Scorpion clan, I have seen how you look at the greenhouse, and I can only hope that my small gift of green tea made available to you every day while you're in my company is payment enough for your services here in the city.
That is more than enough. You simply gave me a place to stay, which is more than I could even ask for.
If I have, I will give. That is what I was taught.
Well, should you ever be in the Crablands, you will always have a place for my residence.
This is fair, I think. And you see the madam kind of come over. He whispers something into her ear. She looks at you and she nods as she takes her order, and then you see her disappear into the greenhouse. He's like, as soon as you are ready, I have told her to make preparations so that we may visit the greenhouse so that you can see
excellent.
that there is a difference in the air.
Oh, I burned all the other tea. Actually, as a connoisseur of tea, have you ever heard of adding gold to tea?
Gold, like chunks.
No, these are more like small. These are more like small filings, right?
Yeah.
Or like powder.
Yeah.
Okay. This is more like a filing or sort of a powder placed amongst tea leaves.
No. Gold is a mineral that would embitter the tea, I would imagine.
Seems excessive to me.
That's something that sounds like... And you see him kind of stop himself. I don't wish to spread rumors, but that's something that I think only the extravagance of a crane would enjoy.
I chuckle. Poor Doji's ears are turning red right now.
Yeah, it's a good thing he's got that headset on. But sure enough, after a few moments, you see that she comes out of the greenhouse, and she has these two very thick and cumbersome looking leather suits, like kind of old diving suits.
Okay.
And she brings them.
What are the purpose of these?
These are to protect yourself and to ensure that no contamination or contaminant comes into the greenhouse.
Oh. Do I disrobe or do I put this over it?
No, you may put it over. And you see that he starts to kind of get into it. The other person that's eating there kind of looks at the whole situation with like a raised eyebrow. But you notice that they're still kind of eating. And they only slightly kind of turn their chair so they can view what's going on, but still stay eating their food. And as you finish putting it up, you see that she helps you zip it up from the back. She goes around and she helps the Bayushi, and then they give you a leather kind of thick helmet with a heavy glass kind of faceplate that they tie on with these leather thongs. And as you walk into the hallway that separates the dining room from the actual greenhouse, he steps in first, and he stops and he motions for you to follow him in, and then they close the door, and there's a gentle misting of a liquid that you hear kind of being pumped on top of you and around you. And you see that he kind of starts to spread it around, and make sure that the suit
like
is
he's bathing himself.
Yeah, kind of. Like he's making sure that a lot of it gets around. And he nods at you, and once you both kind of look drenched, he opens the inner door and goes into the greenhouse. And as he closes the door, you see that the hallway is suddenly lit ablaze, like a fire is suddenly ignited inside of it, and a lot of the air in it is eaten up, and you can feel the door kind of being sucked in as there's a vacuum created. But sure enough, inside the greenhouse, you don't feel as pressured. There's nothing kind of pushing down on your innards. There's nothing kind of stressing you out. There's no urge to kind of recall any of the violence that you've dealt with in your life. And there's a sereneness.
Wow. This is I'm probably amazed at the lengths that they go through for this.
Yeah.
Like, just like an utter shock.
Yeah, and you see that he goes
Some
over.
plant.
Yeah, he goes over to a small table at the end of the greenery, at the greenhouse, and he kind of like plops down. And you see that there's like a jiggle, like him giggling. And then he kind of like he motions, like he holds his hand out, like this is where he comes to kind of relax.
Okay. Is it all tea leaves?
Not all of it, no.
Like I ask him, is this all tea?
And he responds, not all of it, no. There are some other plants from Bayushi Kyoden and some other lands near and afar from Scorpion territory.
Okay. This is... Yeah, I just kind of cruise around, see if anything catches my interest.
Are you looking for anything in particular, like illegal plants, or are you just kind of like taking note of what's there?
I highly doubt I'd even notice if there was illegal plants. No, I'm actually I'm ultimately going to be looking for something that matches the tea leaves that I saw earlier today that that were tainted. I look for that sort of similar plants, and I mean, keep my eyes open if there's anything that looks like, oh, he went through all this work because of this specific plant. Like this looks expensive, I guess. Like to me, this is so over the top for a garden.
Yeah.
Like this is crazy to me.
Yeah, this is a big greenhouse. It's about 150 by like 250 of just kind of plants. Yeah. It is easily the biggest kind of part of this building, aside from the whole two trees growing up into each other in the foyer. There's
I'm gonna mutter to myself, like apparently running a tea house pays well.
There is a trellis work that is set up in the center of it that kind of goes up as a support of the glass up above and everything, and it looks like it has the expensive plants that kind of grow up like vines and kind of wrap and twist around this trellis.
Okay.
And you notice that some of the plants are separated by area, and they'll have a little clan tag like from where they're from. So you'll see some specific plants from the crablands are there, some from crane, some from dragon. And you do notice that there's one potted plant that looks like it's struggling to survive. And to be fair, all the plants in the section are struggling to survive. But it matches the kind of coloring of the fibers of the plants that you saw in their house. But the tag is from the Kirin clan.
Okay. I shut over. These don't look to be doing so well.
He nods and he comes over. The harshness of the Kirin lands I cannot replicate. I've tried to kind of cross-breed them with other plants, and they are proving difficult. I personally go out to the Kirin lands myself to procure new ones when they die. And he looks down at them, and he kind of holds one in his hand very carefully. Like you see that there's a love in how he handles the plants. And he's like, I think I might need to make preparations to leave within the month if these don't start to pick up and perk up.
Interesting. Do these make good tea plants?
He nods.
That's the way you go through the effort. Human lands. Interesting. Yeah, I'm just gonna walk around a bit more. Then, eventually, if nothing else really catches my eye, I'm just gonna go.
Okay. So once you're ready, he goes with you, and he does the same thing. He goes in first. He stops. They bathe you again, and this time when they bathe you, you notice that he doesn't leave once you get bathed. Like, he waits for them to kind of set the chamber on fire. And sure enough, when it does, like, there's a moment of fear, because you're like, this guy is gonna kill me here if he sets me on fire.
Yeah.
But the suit is protective enough that it just kind of like eats away the upper layer of what was doused.
Okay.
And then as he opens the door, you hear that popping noise from the vacuum, and he kind of goes out, and he starts to unfasten the faceplate, and he pulls it off, and he's just like, I apologize for that, Kuni-san, but it is a measure that we take to ensure we do not cross-contaminate.
Alright. That's... seems excessive for tea.
It's not the tea that I do it for, Kuni-san, it's the peace.
Yeah. I just kind of definitely nod to make sure he knows that I'm like, when I say it's more like, sure, buddy.
Yeah.
You know. But I'm just like, alright, you do you, man.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But yeah, he they, between the two of them, him and the madam, they help you take your thing off, and then he starts to take his off, and he's like, please don't let me stop you from enjoying the rest of your night, Kuni-san. I have some business to take care of, but you should find that you will have tea prepared for you every evening and every morning.
Thank you.
Of course.
That's very gracious.
Of course.
And I thank his assistant for helping me out of that
Oh yeah,
heavy suit.
She bows to you, of course.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go finish my meal.
Okay. We go back to the magistrate building then, where we see Doji and Tamori-san. He finally finishes his slow walk up the steps. And as you guys are discussing what route to take to the Shiba's apartment, the main door opens and you see Giyomaru, the old man, the old Shugenja, kind of stepping out. And as he sees the two of you, he kind of stops and he bows. And you notice that he doesn't have a walking stick with him. There's a little bit of a pep in his step.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah. And he bows and he steps aside, and he's like, please, I did not mean to block your way.
No offense was taken. And I nod to him. No, I wouldn't really say much else.
Okay.
I would have a pleasant evening.
You as well. And you see him
and I just
hopscotch down the steps like a man. It's maybe like 15 years younger.
How old is this man?
Late 60s.
He hopscotches down the steps?
Yeah.
Alright. Some fucking fishy's happening. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Oh, I look at you and I go, oh, and I tell you quickly the story how Kuni-san found a goblin hand in his house, an old trophy, and when he burned it, it felt like this that was in his house was released. It was probably affecting him all these years, this taint from the Shadowlands. So now that he's free of it, he probably has all this energy.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I thought something was happening.
No, he had an old trophy, and it was slowly infecting him and everybody around him. and when Kuni-san burned it, we all felt the difference. It was noticeable.
Was this when
it was
I was
kind of like
sleeping?
what? Yes, it was when you were sleeping. But you know the feeling we had in the peasant quarter.
Yeah.
When it was like that feeling.
Okay.
So that's why he's like that.
Awesome. I thought there was like a whole new level of black magic happening where all the old people are just gonna start having a bunch of energy.
No, it was strange for you because having lived here for 2 years, like he's always kind of had a walking stick at his side. Like he's always kind of been this decrepit. Like he's gonna die soon, and now it's like he's probably got like another 10 years in him.
Oh, jeez. Okay. All right, we gotta get more of these old people moving.
Yes. So I walk in.
Okay.
And
I walk in, but I'm taller, so I make more of an entrance.
Take a foot.
Just to bother the crane, just a little bit. I need to bother the crane.
Just a foot taller.
I just look over at them with like a little bit of a raised eyebrow, and I'm like, it's not a competition.
Sometimes it can be.
Yeah, it isn't.
Yeah,
it isn't difficult.
But save it for the right moment. Don't just flaunt it, because then everybody just ignores your flaunting.
Fine,
it's like the
Dad.
Peacock. It's like the peacock. The peacock only spreads its feathers when it's trying to attract a mate.
I am a dragon. You notice when I enter the room.
Everybody notices when you enter the room.
But it isn't difficult for Tamori-san to show you where the Shiba's apartment is on the second floor.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And as you arrive, you knock at the door.
Are there any, when on our way there, if there's any servants or peasants, I ask if they are in the building.
There's a servant at each level of the stairs. Then
as soon as we get to the level where that servant is, I ask if they are available, if they're here. Because it would be kind of rude for us to knock on the door.
Yeah.
I keep walking. As he asks, I go exactly where I need to go, and I brush past him.
You call him!
The servant is torn between trying to stop Tamori-san and trying to answer your question. And you
Stopping
see
her would be like trying to stop an avalanche. Just let it go.
Yeah, like you see him kind of like stepping. He steps towards them. He stops. He looks at you. Then he sees that Tamori-san keeps moving. So he takes another step and he looks at you. He's like, yes, Shiba Yagao is in his apartment. Yes, I can announce you if you'd like, sir.
You might want to run quickly to announce before they arrive at the door and knock.
Yeah, and you see him hurriedly kind of rush to the point where he catches up to Tamori-san, and then very as peasantly as possible, he skirts around you and kind of rushes past you towards the door. And immediately, he kneels down at the door. He knocks, and then he slowly opens it a little bit. He's just like, "Shiba-sama, you have two visitors." And you hear from inside, "Let them in."
I was already coming in.
It's like, let them. It's already in.
Yeah. And you see that he's in the process of putting on the top of his kimono, that all he has really is like a pair of combat pants on. And as you enter, before he finishes his order, he kind of sighs and he's just like, "Of course."
I just like gaze over Mori-san and just give a small, like the smallest of like shrugs, like.
I have no control, sir. Please.
Like you can't stop this when it decides to move. You just let it.
Yeah. Yeah. And sure enough, you see him finish putting on the robe, and he closes it, and he motions for some cushions that are lined up on the against one of the walls. He's like, "Please, sit. How can I help you, samurai?"
I think my cousin came to see you earlier today.
Ooh, I have been visited by two crane. Who would this be?
The uglier one.
No. You're thinking my other which two, actually? They might be correct. Which two?
Oh, he looks at you. He's like, "I was visited this morning by Daidoji Ryunmei. I believe this is the older sister of your ward. And then I was also
Yes.
visited by a Kakita Yororo."
It's the first one, right? Doji?
No. Neither one is my. Neither one is my troublesome cousin.
Oh.
The first one is the Shinjuka that's missing. But the Kakita, I'm surprised that a Kakita came to see you. First things first. My cousin, when she came to see you, Doji-san, did
Shiba.
I think Shiba. What does she? Do you know where she is? We have not seen her at the camp all day.
That is strange. We had discussions about a strange sensation that she was feeling. I had tried to explain to her that this is just the mountain air, and that she will get accustomed to it as the rest of us have. But she pressed forward, having said that the kami of air that she grew up with urged that this was not something natural. So I told her that I would look into it with some of my associates and friends that I had back at Q Denisawa. And as such, he shows you that he has been writing a letter to Enisawa. He's like, I was in the middle of actually pouring my thoughts onto the page that I might send this out tomorrow. But she left soon after that conversation.
Something that you might want to add to that letter. I assume that you are unaware of the events of earlier this morning. And I tell her the entire story of the family that was tainted. And how I took the entire story, like all of it, like the fact that we had to behead them, all of it.
Okay.
I beheaded the woman, he beheaded the child. I'm just gonna point that out. It was a full-grown woman that I beheaded, and he beheaded a child.
He nods.
That
as you.
They were both tainted. Does it make a difference?
He's like,
it feels like it does.
It doesn't.
I see.
But so yes,
was this done with
feeling that my cousin.
Was this done with the permission of our daimyo?
No, because they were screaming and the symbol was on their chest, and we had Kuni-san with us, who is an expert in such things, and he was like, they're tainted, end them, and we did rather quickly, and I was coming here to also inform you and inform all the necessary people of what was happening. Hold on. Remember, this is out of character a second. I sent somebody to arrange a meeting. Does it seem like that person has never gotten here to tell them?
The way he's asking if you had permission, it almost feels like no one has approached anyone here.
When it happened, I sent it was one of my cousins, the doji, the one that came with my troublesome cousin, here to set up a meeting, and apparently he never came because you are.
If he did not come to me. I will.
No, he would have came to arrange a meeting with all three representatives to tell them what is going on.
Yes.
Yes. It's very strange.
I can confer with the other delegates to see if maybe one of them intercepted the message. I would be inclined to say that the Bayushi might have had something to do with this, but I don't think he has left his tea house all day.
The Scorpion, they have their ways, but if it was something of this magnitude, it's not the type of thing that they would keep to themselves. There's no political advantage to it.
I concur.
Actually, there's more of a political advantage to be the one to reveal the news and make it look like they found out on their own. That's why I don't think that they were told and he's keeping it to himself. It's not Scorpion-like.
I will ask Kitsuki-san if she was the one that was the intermediary. She has been busy of late, so I don't think it would have been done on purpose if she did keep this.
So
especially if this just happened this morning.
Yeah. I bow, okay, at this point, because I realize she doesn't know. I bow all the way where my forehead is touching the floor.
Okay.
And Prostrate. I apologize for taking lives of two peasants like this. And I apologize for the life my cousin took. And that I will do what I need amends. Anything that is asked of me and my clan.
Of course. I will.
While he's bowing, I make it clear to this guy, we didn't have a choice. We had to kill those peasants. They were going to infect and harm everyone in the village if we let them run free. So I don't think that there is an apology here. I think that we did the correct thing.
The correct thing and the right thing are rarely the same thing, unfortunately. I will arrange a meeting with the village's daimyo and the other members of the assembly tomorrow afternoon.
I will be here.
You said that you two were responsible for 2 of the deaths.
Yes.
Can we get the third person responsible for the third death in to the meeting as well?
I take responsibility for his action.
I understand.
No, Doji, why though?
Because he was under my auspice as a member of my family and he's my responsibility. Everybody in the clan, in the Crane group, is under my responsibility. Their actions reflect upon me. And then through me reflect on my clan. So I have to take responsibility.
Understood, but he's also responsible for himself.
You're right, and I will deal with him directly on that, but then I must deal with who's above me. It's like the celestial order of the heavens. The peasant doesn't deal with the daimyo. The samurai deals with the daimyo for the peasant.
Do what you think is right, Doji.
I always try to. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Such is the way of Bushido. It's not an easy code to live by. And I go, one more question. My cousin, other cousin, the Kikita, what did they come around for? Because I was unaware of their visiting.
Yes, he was introducing himself to the assembly, saying that he had been ordered to help with the protection and to establish the security of the village as Miwa-sama approaches in his caravan.
Were they part of my caravan?
No.
So this is another crane. All it makes perfect sense. He's part of the Imperial caravan. Paulie just came in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Does make perfect sense then. Yeah. Do you know where they are staying? Where he is staying?
Yes, he said that if I needed him, that he could be found with the rest of his entourage at the Odayakana Kawa Inn.
Thank you.
Of course.
I have taken too much of your time tonight. I must go find my cousin. But thank you.
I look forward to our court tomorrow.
As do I.
He bows.
I bow back and I stand up, fixing my kimono, and I walk out.
Okay. The slave has
I bow and leave.
Yeah, the peasant has not moved. Like the second you leave, he kind of scooches forward and he slides the door closed, and then he kind of bows to the two of you, and then he starts to kind of slowly meander back towards his post at the top of the stairs.
And I will, like, the stairs that start to lead down.
Yep.
I'm just gonna stand next to them, and I'll just wait for Tamori-san. I know that she's probably taking care of something. They are taking care of something that they need to take care of, probably. And it's not my business, so I will calmly wait for Mori-san at the edge of the stairs.
I have nothing left to say. I leave as well.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I bow and leave.
Yep. Yeah.
And Mori, when you come down the hallway and you see me waiting there, I do look very, very worried. Like, worried.
You're worried about your responsibility for 2 deaths instead of 1?
Yeah.
3 deaths.
3 deaths, 4 deaths.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin that was killed this morning.
Mm-hmm.
3 peasant deaths. And I'm worried there's a 5th, because if I don't find my cousin, I'm going to start. The Shijunga, I'm going to start thinking the worst. Right. So, yeah, and I need some good news today. So I'm like, and tomorrow in court. Oh, God, I wish my sister was here.
I put my hand on your shoulder and kind of just do like one of the pats again.
And I put my hand like on your shoulder, like on your hand, you know, like your hand on your hand like this, like thanking you. And I look up at you and I go, you have a good soul. It's rare. It's rare in those of our profession.
Mori is puzzled by this and thinks of how to respond.
Yeah, you see that there's somebody coming up the stairs as he kind of like it has his back to the stairs and is talking to you, and as this mountain of a man is kind of coming up the stairs behind him, you just see him suddenly move with speed that you wouldn't guess this large behemoth has, and he just picks up the doji and just holds him up over his head. Your reflexes are getting slow, old man. And you see him just kind of spin him once and then put him down.
And you see, okay, so Mori, you see the biggest shit-eating grin on this crane's face you've ever seen as he looks up at this giant of a man. And he's like, I just hug him. Like, I bury my head in his chest with a giant hug.
Oh yeah. You can hear the back crack as he kind of lifts him with his hug.
I go, oh, I needed that.
And he's like,
and I look up. I look up at him and I'm like, Ugo-san, you have no idea how much I needed to see a friendly face today.
yeah.
And I'm like leaning on him almost, like a relief. Like, oh my god.
The crane and the encampment that you have to the south all look weak and malnourished. I had to find the fittest one to tell me where you were. And then he kind of like he just whips the back of his hand towards your stomach, and he's like, I see that I found the fittest one.
I smile and I go, I look at Mori-san, and I go, Mori-san, this is my dearest friend, Ugo.
Yeah. He bows low to you, and he's just like, I am Hida Aguro. It is an honor to meet you, Mori-san. He's maybe got like an inch on you, but he is. I
have a habit. I have a habit of making friends with giants.
Yeah.
I introduce myself as flirtatious as possible in Japanese culture, which is not very flirtatious at all.
Right.
But I introduce myself to Mori. Hello. Yeah. I enjoy big people.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes.
Hold on. For a second, I stop there. I look at one. I look at the other. I realize that Hida is not married.
No, not at all.
That Ugo is not married yet, and I'm like, huh.
And you see, like, the moment you finish introducing yourself, like, he nods at you. He's like, yes, and he just grabs the doji by the waist and just starts to carry him off like suitcase back down the stairs. Come, we have drinking to do.
Unflattering. No, we need to talk right now.
Yes,
and I give him that serious.
We talk over drinking.
I snap into my serious voice.
And you see him pull the gourd out. No. We talk.
We need to talk
when we drink.
Right now.
I would agree that I would enjoy a drink very much with your new large friend. Please. Please.
I need to find my cousin first. Hiro.
He puts you down.
My cousin is missing. One of my cousins was killed earlier this morning. And I'm worried that my cousin is dead. I need to find her.
You're right. This is not a time to drink.
And
you see him take a swig from his gourd.
I reach out for it as well, by the way.
He gives it to you after he takes a swig.
I look at it. I look at Mori-san, and I go, I hand it to her first. To them first.
I take it. Yeah. Last
and
time
I wait for a second because I know how much the sake knocked her out.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting to see their reaction when they drink this.
This time I have somebody to impress. So I take the sake and I chug it, and I don't make a face. I try really hard not to make a face while I do 2 gulps just to impress out macho the bigger one, you know? I have to kind of peacock strut.
Yeah.
And then I hand it back to Doji.
There's the smallest... there's the smallest scrunch of a nose as she takes the second gulp, and that crab kind of cold sake just has that very subtle ambrosial kind of mead burn. And he raises an eyebrow at the second gulp, and he's like, yes.
And I take my because I've been drinking this stuff since we first met during my Jinpu ceremony. I take a surprisingly big swig for somebody my size. I'm like,
yeah.
And then I stop for a second. I'm like, and I let it just warm me for a second.
Yeah.
I'm like, it is. Oh, I needed that.
It is something that has been sorely missed.
I hand it back to Ugo.
Yep.
And I go, okay, Ugo, we talk as we walk.
Yeah.
And as we're walking out, I'm telling him everything that happened in the morning.
Okay.
With the family, all
right. We go back to the Lotus House as you start to walk back towards the Crane Enclave, I assume?
I'm going to go back to the Kane Enclave, but I want to... Mori-san, you know all the temples. Is there a temple that is dedicated to the Kami of Air?
No.
As I say this, there is a composure you've never seen before over Mori. This is what they were raised to do, was to put on a mask. And they explain in thorough detail all of the different temples and all of the different areas in the town as eloquently as possible.
I think when they're going through the list, I try to pick out the one that I think my cousin will go to the most.
Okay. The one on the island sounds like the one that they would go to.
Perfect, let's go. Okay. And I asked Mori, could you lead us there? I have no idea how to get there.
I can lead the way. Just try to keep up.
No.
I'll try to keep up this time.
Yeah. If you hear the big guy, he's like, if he starts to fall behind, I'll just carry him again. He's used to it.
Please do.
Excuse me, I can handle it.
We could take turns. I'll carry him the first half. You carry him the last half.
Oh, are you friends? Are you friends with him like that?
No, we're not. We're friends.
I am heartbroken, Doji.
The only one is allowed to... Okay, you don't know the story about us. As we go, I told you the story about how in our Ginpu ceremony, they were making fun of me because of my height. And when I went to fight him during the duel, I didn't even draw my weapon. I knocked him out with a punch. But then his brother took insult, and when I was dueling his brother gave me, and I show you this nasty scar that goes down my arm.
Nice!
This. And afterwards, we spent the rest of the night drinking sake and became steadfast friends. Your mic went dead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and we became steadfast friends, and we've been friends for 15, 16 years already.
Yeah. So as you guys are heading towards the island temple, we come back to the Lotus House, and we see the madam and one of the younger girls kind of picking up after the settings, the dishes and whatnot, and she stays there for a second. She's just like, Kuni-san, is there anything else that you would desire?
Just a fresh bucket of water and some small towels for the room, please.
They have been laid out for you.
That is all. Thank you.
Of course.
You're quite attentive. Actually, I will have a small container of sake.
Oh. Anyone in particular, Kuni-san?
Yeah, just a sake.
Very well. I am sure that the Bayushi-san would prefer it if you had something that tasted like home. It will be made available for you.
Thank you.
And sure enough, a few minutes after you get to your room, you hear the small kind of knocking. You did not hear anyone walking down the hall, but you hear the knocking. You see the door slightly open, and a small sake bottle is slid in on a little kind of personal dish.
Okay.
And then the door is closed, and you see the silhouette walk away from the light source near the door, but you don't hear anything.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. I'm gonna fish out my little pipe, and I'm gonna go sit out front and have some of my pipe and just drink from the bottom, leaving the little cups there.
Okay.
The little cups.
Are you still face painted, or did you take that off?
Yeah, I'm still face painted. No, not yet.
Okay.
I only do that right before sleep. Yeah. So,
okay.
Not yet.
So sure enough, you see as you kind of sit outside at the front of this tea house, you look out and you can see the eastern gate of the city, not too far away where you came through. You can see the rest of the city proper. The tea house is on a little bit of a hill, so you get to get a nice view. There's a nice breeze every so often. The rain has started to come down in earnest, and there's a nice kind of sheet of water that kind of creates a blanket about maybe 50 or 60 feet out, maybe about like up to 100 feet out, and all you can really see is just the night, the little bit of moonlight that tries to kind of scrape itself through the clouds, and just the pinpricks of torchlight here and there in the city streets that make up the evening in Shiromori-Sato. The madam comes out after a moment, and she sits at the table opposite the entrance, and she looks over at you. She's like, Kuni-san, did the Bayushi say anything about the new entourage that came in today?
No, I believe it must have slipped his mind.
It's not my place to say.
Who came in?
Oh, since you have asked, sir, I saw a crane arrive with a large crab.
Interesting.
And a phoenix in tow.
They must be here for the wedding.
One can assume. Except that I did notice the crab had the crest of is it the Jade Magistrate?
Oh.
Yes. It's Jade.
Yeah, that's the Shugenja one, right?
Yeah, no, that is
the Emerald.
No, the Emerald Magistrate. That's the one I was looking for. Because I was like, no, the Jade is the Shugenja one. Yeah, I noticed that he had a crest for the Emerald Magistrate. I think he might be an agent.
Oh. Interesting. Do I know any crabs that are Jade? That's a roll, and I do not have that lore.
That is a heraldry roll, yeah.
Heraldry. I need heraldry.
Yeah, right?
Is it heraldry?
Yeah,
I even had that skill.
Yeah, it's a lore heraldry.
Ah, yeah. Not happening.
How uncouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't fit that into your Maho and your Shadowlands lore?
No. Listen, I don't care about all the good things that guy has done. I want to know if he's tainted and if I need to kill him.
Gotcha.
That's what I need to know. It's my purpose in life. Interesting. I light up, just light my pipe and just...
Yeah.
When is this wedding supposed to take place?
At the end of summer.
Oh, that's what she tells me. I'm asking her that, by the way.
Yeah, she's like
I'm not going to know that. Okay.
From what I've heard, it is supposed to take place at the end of summer.
And who's getting married?
It is a crane. It is a crane, some crane of high repute, and the new Imperial family member that was found to have roots here in this village.
Oh, interesting. Gold by status. Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Is the weather always like this time of year?
We find that winter tends to fight the release of its grasp on the city. It's nice.
Is it cold out?
Not really. It's maybe about upper 60s.
All right, so I definitely wouldn't want to be soaking wet. All right. I just kind of try to, relax, Take the day off, like get the day off of me, and
as you're sitting there and the conversation lulls and you both go back to whatever you were doing. Excuse me. One of the young girls comes out and whispers something in her ear, and you see that she's kind of got like a straw cloak over and one of the wide brim hats, and immediately the woman kind of stands up and she's like, "Go! You should not have stopped to tell me anything." And the young girl apologizes and rushes out into the rain.
Is everything okay?
She looks at you for a moment. She turns around and you kind of, I know that you're gonna make the roll because you always roll ungodly for your perception check.
This will be the time I roll bad.
But let's see you roll your perception check.
Alright.
I might as well just
why not?
narrate the sound that you hear. Want you to be like an 85.
It's investigation perception?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, only 33.
Does he ever roll?
That's what I use.
Does he ever roll anything under 20?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Last session.
Yeah, you might have. You hear the soft kind of clacking of what sounds like her hands shaking as she picks up the dishes that she was drinking from. But as she turns around, it completely stops, and you see that there is a very stoic and cold demeanor again that befits a scorpion. And she just looks at you. She's like, "Unfortunately, I must attend to some business. It seems that somebody has targeted our tea house." And she kind of she walks inside, kind of just places the dishes at the front little table right there, and she kind of pulls out a straw cloak and she kind of offers it to you. If you'd like, I can show you what I'm talking about, Kuni-san.
Of course. I'll grab my hat too. I'll grab my hat. My white brim hat, so
okay.
Keep some of the rain off of me.
Yeah. And sure enough, as you come back, she helps put the cloak around you, the straw cloak around you. She does not have one. Like, she's given you the one that the tea house, the only other one that the tea house has, and you see her kind of like step out into the rain and around the side of the house. And as you come around, there's a large tree that you notice there is a body strapped to. The hands are up and around the top of the head, and they're bound at the wrists and up through the trunk of this tree, and the legs are kind of spread out and tied at the ankles and down to the base of the tree. And there's a wound that looks like it was almost akin to ritualist seppuku.
Okay.
Like her bowels and her entrails are just kind of pouring out over the front of her body. She has beautiful, or what were beautiful and kind of meticulously embroidered silk crane-colored kimono.
Okay.
Just this what could have been beautiful blonde hair, and what looks to be, well, you don't have heraldry, so you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the subtle differences between the clanmon of the families. But the crane doesn't look like a typical crane.
Okay.
It's still,
maybe they married into the crane.
Yeah, it's still crane. It's just, it's not the traditional crane symbol.
Okay.
And as the rain is falling on top of both of you, and the kind of scorpion peasant woman is kind of just drenched there next to you. She kind of looks over at you. She's like, "This is the issue that I have to deal with, Kuni-san." You can
This
see
town seems
how
to...
this will look for my lord.
This is like right next to the property, or it's like inside? Is it like in their courtyard or something?
It is just outside what would be considered the property line, but there's a clear kind of... There's a little, maybe like 2-foot high stone wall that denotes where the property line is for this tea house. And on this side, where some of the trees are, that you can see that there's like an orchard being prepared. You can see that the stone wall has kind of been knocked down, so there's no clear delineation of where the property line is. And it almost looks like the orchard is being annexed into the actual property. But she looks at you, she's like, "This was supposed to be my master's next move for the city. Wanted to cultivate trees from around the empire."
Well, town's gonna need some beautification after this, so it might still be a good idea. I'm gonna crouch down and start investigating the area.
Okay.
Just seeing what I see. I'm gonna tell her, like, go warm yourself. Get out those wet clothes, warm yourself by the fire, and some of the crane. I believe they're the one in charge is Doji Izanagi.
As you wish.
Summon them here,
Kuni-san. And as she says that, you hear from above you and off towards the village a little bit, the bell at the eastern tower just starts to ring. Just dong, dong, dong.
That's the first time that's happened?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. How many rings? 3?
It is 5 rings. And then there's a pause.
Okay.
And then again another 5. And then a pause. A little bit longer this time, and then another 5. But sure enough, as you see her walk back into the tea house, there's a little bit of time, like very minimal, and you see one of the other girls just come shooting out, running into the rain. As the Doji, the Tamori, and the Hida are walking towards the ferry on the western side of town, over the rain, just barely audible in a break that you get from one of Hida Aguro's big laughs, you hear the 5 bells.
I pause and I look over at Mori-san with that look of, what is that?
That is the magistrates announcing that there has been a murder.
Yeah.
It's not good. The
my
bells are
face
not good.
Yeah, you see my face just like, yeah.
I don't know if we should. Yeah, I don't know if we should keep going. We should probably go back. But whenever the bells ring, they don't ring often. But when they do, it's kind of a big deal.
No.
Let's go.
As we're walking at this point, I let my straw hat fall back, and I just let the rain hit me.
Yeah.
At this point, because I'm just like, and no, actually, I'm not even running. I'm just walking.
Yeah. The Hida kind of like stays behind, and he just yells back. He's like, "So we're not going on a boat?"
It seems we're too late.
No. wanted to go on the boat.
Seems I'm late again, friend.
He starts to follow you then, and this time you see that he pulls the gourd off of his belt, but instead he hands it to you first. I think we're going to need this where we're going.
And I'm just walking back toward the magistrate building. I'm sure they'll tell me where it is.
Yeah. As you are getting back to the magistrate building, because you weren't really that far away, you see that there is one of the young girls from the tea house is shooting towards the magistrate building and then kind of curving south towards the Cranelands when she stops as she sees your group, and she kind of bows. She goes, I'm looking for Doji Izanagi.
The fates have blessed you with finding me sooner than you thought.
The Kuni who is staying with us has summoned you, sir. And you see her bow real low.
Lead the way.
And she immediately starts to turn back towards the tea house and just books.
I sigh and I run.
Yeah. Immediately,
I'm coming!
Yeah, the Hida kind of just like slaps his thighs, and he's just like, excuse me, too much riding has made me soft. And as he starts bolting, he runs up right next to you, and you see him kind of just like pick you up like luggage. Come on, this is faster.
No. Hold on, let's see. Sometimes I impress him.
Oh, you want to try to impress him?
Actually, you know what? I'm going to say a quick to the winds to carry me once more.
You calling me the winds now, or are you calling him the winds?
No, I've always had a special connection to the kami of the wind. I can't really explain it.
Yeah.
It's always looked over me.
Roll your wind ring. See what happens.
That's 17. Well, that means I would roll it with agility and add 1. Hold on. Agility and add 1 dice.
Yeah.
There we go. 19.
19. Yeah, sure enough, you feel a kind of sharp, sudden breeze hit the back of all of you, and you do see it start to kind of like pick you up, and then with his 27 that I rolled, he still kind of grabs you by the waist, pulls you up like a piece of luggage, and he's like, "Let's go!"
You said you wanted good news, Doji. This is the good news.
No, this is definitely not good news.
No, not the dead person, the guy.
Yeah. And you just hear as the rain is kind of like enveloping you guys and the wind kind of whistles past you. I like it when you call me the wind in front of new people. And you just hear him laughing as you run past this girl. And when he finally puts you down in front of the Lotus house, that the girl is kind of like stopped and she's catching her breath underneath the awning, and she points to the rear of the building. You come around and you see the Kuni at the base of this tree that has the image that I described for him earlier. It is the somewhat nude body of the Shugenja. The kimono's thrown open. The wound at the belly looks like it was seppuku.
I literally just dropped to my knees, like in front of her, and I don't care about the mud in my kimono at this point.
Yeah.
Nobody sees me crying because I'm covered in rain.
Yes. Yep. But you notice that Ray, you noticed the Hida kind of, he looks at the scene, and then he kind of like turns away and he puts his hand in front of his eyes.
Right. Take off a layer of my kimono and go up and make sure that she's modestly covered.
Yeah. Yeah.
I walk up and I just pat Doji and I'm like, I'm sorry, Doji-san.
I look at you with a nod and can I cut her down now?
Am I done looking at it, Chu?
What do you want to get out of the crime scene?
I'm gonna look for any clues. Like, obviously, the Shugenja here was tied up here. Like, they didn't do this themselves.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking for. Obviously, it's raining, so I can't, like. I don't know. Like, does it look like this was committed here? Does it look like they were dragged here after it was already done? You know, I'm looking for all. I'm kind of just searching the area, looking for anything that, you know, like who, like, is the blade that did this still here? Does does she still have her wakizashi with her?
Let's see.
Her daisho.
Let's see how high you roll your investigation check, and I'll give you as much information as I can.
Alrighty. Is this a search roll?
Yeah, you can use your emphasis.
Or just okay.
32. Yeah. The blade that did this is not here. Her wakizashi is missing. Even her tanto is missing as well. You can see what looks to be indentations in the mud that are slowly kind of being filled and losing their obviousness for horse tracks. And there's small kind of puddles of blood that lead away from here that are slowly becoming hard to find as the color becomes ruddy in the mud. But it does look like this was not done here. She was done. This was done to her afterwards.
Okay.
As I'm covering her up, can I also roll for investigation just to see if I see anything?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's see what you get. Oh shit! Fucking Columbo and Magnum PI 29. As you're kind of wrapping your overlayer kimono on top of her to kind of close off the openness of her kimono, you notice that it looks like there's bruising around the neck.
Like she's been choked?
Like she's been choked or she was hanged.
Okay.
You notice that there's blood around her fingernails. Like this was.
So she fought back.
Like she was fighting back, and it looks like there's bruising on the inside of her thighs.
Okay. So, I go to where Kuni and Doji are, and I let them know what I discover, and my suspicion is that not only was this not done here, this was a very violent act by at least 2 people. I'm not going to guess that it was just one.
Certainly is.
I'm assuming
disgusting.
I'm assuming her scrolls are also missing.
Yes. There's no real possessions on her.
I owe it to her to at least look around. I'm looking for any of the symbols that we have come to recognize anywhere in the area. Carved on the tree, carved behind her, carved around her, or on her.
Behind her, the only thing that you find is that there's been the word "no" carved into it.
Is it fresh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no kanji. there's nothing of anything that you've remotely dealt with so far. And instead of having like a symbol of negation, there's literally just the word no carved in behind her.
This was one of your courtiers?
Kind of where the crane mon sits on her kimono. It's like the crane mon, right behind it is the word no.
She was one of the most powerful Shukenja in my camp. She would not have gone down without a fight, and it would have been noticeable.
Yeah, and she's also the older sister of the betrothed.
Yeah.
This does not bode well.
No, it doesn't. I ask one more time. May I cut her down now?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, if I'm done looking, I'm...
Yeah.
I call for some Edda, and I cut her down.
Okay.
And I also call for whoever's the... I don't know if we even brought a priest with us in our entourage.
It would just be another Shukenja.
I call for whoever's the next highest Shukenja to come with, of course, guards. Like I said, nobody leaves in a group less than 3.
Of course. And it takes a while to get the crane out here.
Of course.
But the Edda are some of the first.
Of course. And as soon as the Edda get there, that's when I cut her down.
Yeah.
And I look at them and I say, catch her. She is not to touch the mud.
Yeah. And at this, you notice that the Hida is actually somebody that steps forward and actually is the one that catches her. And he's the one that kind of puts her down gently.
I give him that look of thank you.
Yeah, and he immediately he kind of goes over and he starts to use some of the rainwater to kind of wash his hands. But he kind of nods at you as they start to get to work on preparing.
Look at the tree where she was sitting. Sorry, go ahead.
Is there part of her kimono that's not covered in blood?
I put my kimono on top of her, so...
Yeah,
I know, but is there part of her kimono?
There's a sleeve. There's part of a sleeve that you can take.
Take my wakizashi out. I cut a part of the sleeve.
Okay.
And I tie it to my arm.
Okay. What did you want to check, James, on the tree?
I'm gonna check where she was pinned up against the tree. I want to look where she was sitting, or tied up, rather.
Yeah. It looks like there's definitely at least 2 people involved, because one person could not have tied her up in the crisscross fashion necessary to kind of use her own weight as a fulcrum to hold her in place.
What did I tell you? There is more than one person.
Yeah.
You called it.
Yeah. This looks like it had to be done by at least 3 people.
Okay. This really doesn't bode well.
Yeah.
Not at all.
The ropes, however, you notice have algae that's growing on it. Now that you've gotten a good look at it.
So they've been exposed to water for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
At least the ropes have, yeah. That's weird.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
Is there a kami of vengeance or anything like that?
There's a fortune of vengeance.
When I'm tying on the part of her kimono, I am saying a prayer to the fortune of vengeance.
I got excited by vengeance.
Yeah, right?
Wow, I have to go back to camp and tell her sister.
Yeah. You see...
I think, Doji, just so you are aware, I think that we should forget the decorum for a second and focus on whatever the fuck is going on.
I look at you like you just shattered like glass in front of me. I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Without some measure of decorum, we are nothing but animals.
I'm gonna walk up and I'm gonna put my hand on Doji's shoulder. Be like, do your duty, Doji. I'll take over this further.
I'm waiting for the Shuken because I want to take the body back because I know that she's going to want to be there when we burn the body.
Yeah.
One more thing. Actually, Kuni-san, is there taint on her? Mm-hmm. Is it safe to take her back to the camp, or do we need to burn her like immediately?
Well, it's raining. I don't know how you're gonna burn her immediately.
I'll look for taint. Shukenja.
Yeah.
I'll look for taint.
Yeah, you can make it.
Raining. You gotta appease the fire kami.
Yeah. 44? Jesus, bro. Who are you?
Man.
He's a beast!
Make a regular character next time. You...
So I have to run. When I have to run,
yeah.
I'm gonna be just as bad as everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
The heater can only carry one person, bro.
Actually, if they can't burn her, I'm gonna have to go talk to the heat if he's gonna go back with them and see if he'll behead her.
Yeah. No, if somebody's gonna behead her, it will be me.
Yeah.
All right.
But
just try not to dirty your hands.
As you
I won't.
As you kind of have the Edda move body parts around and kind of move some of the clothing around, and you kind of examine the wound and whatnot, and you notice that this one couple of Edda have just kind of seen more work in the last 72 hours because of your arrival than they have in an entire year. And they're just like, they're morbidly happy about being at work, but they're also like concerned. But there's a gleefulness to like anytime that you give them an order, they're like, yes, of course, samurai. But she is not tainted.
Of course, it raises them in the celestial order in the next life. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, of course.
So I wait for
every time they touch a corpse, they kind of...
Well, yeah, but the thing is, if they're doing it in the service of the Empire and service of higher ranks, when in their next life, they think, you know what I mean? So it's like they're banking for the future.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm waiting for my family to arrive.
Yeah, one of the Shigenja finally arrives with the guard captain himself and a couple of other younger crane samurai, and he like immediately holds his stomach as he sees her dead body, and he just kind of like just shakes his head.
Once everybody gets here, I'm gonna start walking towards the docks or like the lake, probably.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Follow that mother. I follow him. I follow that guy.
Okay. The Hida kind of looks over at you, Pete, and he's just like, "Do you want me to stay with you?"
Me or at
Pete?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, but before, very slyly on the DL, before I leave, I just like kind of give like a wink to the other guy, that guy, the big one.
Sure.
See you soon. I'll be right back.
I look at Kuni-san.
What?
Kuni-san, I will be back.
Yes.
To escort the body back and tell her sister.
I will be following the trail.
When you say trail,
it is.
I stop.
Well,
my eyebrow goes up. I look over at the captain of the guard, and I go, "Can you handle this?"
He bows low to you, and he's just like, "It would be an honor, Doji-san."
Tell her sister that I am with Kuni-san, and we are hunting down her killers.
It will be done.
And I look at Hiro, and I go, Hito?
No. It's time then.
I haven't cut something down in a long time.
That's not true. He cut some bushes earlier today.
That doesn't count. It didn't move.
I have always told him that he should be a gardener, and he kind of starts to laugh.
He does beautiful work.
Can I give Doji a big like smack on the back? Like a there we go. Fuck decorum. Let's go kill some guys.
I'm still like there's still decorum.
Yeah, like
yeah, but you're not going immediately to apologize to somebody. Woo!
Yeah, like the Hita waits until you're out of the line of sight of the other crane to pick you up.
Yes.
No, not now.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, but there's an immediate pickup, and he just starts hoofing it. And,
Yeah!
And the second you start to complain, you just see with his other hand, he pops open the gourd, and he just sticks it in your mouth like a pacifier, like a little bottle.
No.
He's like, here.
Hold on, no. Put me down.
This is where you put all your. This is where you put all your complaints.
Stop.
He stops.
I have that. I look at him. I go. There was a killer somewhere around my wife. Are they okay? My wife and my children? I asked you to keep an eye on them, and you're here.
Then they must be okay, right?
You would have told me if something happened.
Yes, obviously.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they're here.
What?
And this is where we'll pick up the next session. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you are having as much fun as we are. We will see you next week. And remember to keep your distance, to wash your hands, to wear your masks, and to please look out for each other. As always, mental health is a big concern for us, and there's no shame in reaching out. So please, if you feel like you need it, call out to a friend, call out to some family members, but just reach out. You never know who's listening. And if you are somebody that's friends with somebody who's usually a strong personality, reach out to them. All it takes is a simple hello. And if you're somebody that needs that extra push, I'm telling you right now that there's no shame in getting professional help. Mental health is part of your general health, so please look out for yourself in all ways, shapes, or forms. I hope to see you next week for another installment of Legend of the Five Rings, or Friday for our Star Wars campaign, or even Saturday for our special one-shot of Mage 20th anniversary set in World War II. Until then, take care of each other, and we will see you when we see you.